Hello guys, after watching this tutorial I finally fixed my OBS. I recommend it to you as well. And now I posted it. And now we can go back to the review. Enter. And we go to full screen as well. Okay, this was a match from a tourney some time ago. I played gold control, my opponent was on aggro, but I did not know what to play. At the time I didn't know what he's playing, but I was assuming aggro because I see no extra deck in his part. So he goes first, and now we go pot. And discussion is worth it in this hand because we have many plays like go for charity, see if we get a dark for BLS, set merchant, set lady, summon lady and attack, so many options. Now, what I like the most here is setting the lady because we don't play in his battle traps. And also, you know, a lady will survive Blade Knight, stuff like that. But, you know, we are not really in danger of Blade Knight because he has a monster right now. But the play I made in the game is go for charity. And here I make a misplay. Of course, we draw the dark. And I think we should discard a light and the dark to have our BLS available. But, like I said, we also have a knock now, which means we will use it to knock his monster because aggro decks don't really afford us to knock their monsters a lot. So when we get a chance, we should use it immediately. So, which means he won't have a monster, and this will make us vulnerable to Blade Knight, which means for the lights I would discard Merchant, and for the darks we discard Mimic, we knock and we set Lady. And this way we would prevent his Blade Knight to make serious damage. So this is the first misplay, and we are going to see some more as the game goes on. Maybe the sequence between duo and knock is also incorrect. I think almost surely you should duo first and then knock to preserve the information. So he discards Solemn Judgment. Why didn't he set it? So I can also point out two misplays from his side already. You know, the first one is do not set your monsters as aggro because you don't want to get them knocked because you don't play flips. But spoiler, he does actually play flips, so maybe this wasn't a misplay. But the second misplay, which I'm sure it is misplay, is when you have a Solemn, you can afford to set your entire hand to play around the duo. And he didn't, and he got punished. And now we set the Merchant and both back rows. And here is this interaction, Chainlink 1, Jar of Grit, Chainlink 2, Dust Tornado. Why do I do this? First, I want to hit his Heavy Storm, because this is the only explanation why he kept the Solemn Judgment and Book of Moon in hand, to make the pro play of Jar of Grit and Heavy Storm. Also, there is no danger that his back row is actually a Dust Tornado or MST, because if it was, he would have probably used it in the end phase. So, yeah, it turns out it's not really what my theory was. Here goes an actual heavy, and here goes the Blade Knight. So yeah, we see why the discard of Lady was a misplay. But now we got the BLS, but not an entire OTK. But you know, this game will finish shortly. After this, we were pretty lucky with the Trinity. And now he has to make this play of suiciding the breaker to get the dark, and after that he goes BLS for my BLS. And now it's our turn. We don't actually need to top deck to get rid of the BLS because we have Lady in the graveyard, but we end up top decking level 1, which will make the 1000 eyes finish the game. Now sideboard for my aggro matchup in this tournament was pretty strong. I was using skilled darks and plenty of battle traps, which you will see in this game. There is also a very interesting misplay that I make, which is worth commenting on, so I will. He goes first again, sets again. It's safe to attack now for sure because he didn't set any back row, so we do. Unfortunately, we don't go +1, but with rate, of course, we banish. And now setting the Scapegoat here is I think the best, because we don't want to set Dust Tornado because we don't have any immediate threats we want to resolve next turn, and setting Battle Traps is also not worth it. Just the boat is for the same reason, and the reason is Breaker, you know, whatever he does, we can go Scapegoat. This also catches MST, which funnily and ironically actually happens. And now here is the misplay that I want to talk about. So he goes MST and doesn't summon any monsters. So why would he MST if he doesn't plan to if he doesn't plan to make a push, probably with Donzaluk or something like that. And in the game I didn't think this through, but if you think about it, you can see that the only possible explanation for this is he sets Torrential and he wants to catch us on the summon so that he can Torrential our board without killing our his own monster. So obviously if I saw that in the game, I wouldn't have summoned Breaker, as I would recommend now not to summon it, but this happens. But we didn't actually go -1, you know, because this Goat traded with MST 1-for-1 and Breaker traded with Torrential 1-for-1, but it's really just a stupid mistake to make. We didn't have to lose our tokens like this. Now setting both is fine because there is more chance of him having Rota or Donzaluk than Breaker, because if he had Breaker he probably wouldn't have used MST. Luckily he hits the wrong one, so his Donzaluk, which was in hand from the previous turn, won't resolve, or so we think, because he has Solemn. Now it's looking pretty bad, and all because we carelessly lost our tokens. Now of course we attack with Skilled Dark, because if he dies we will set the trap and our hand will be empty. So no dangers here, but fortunately we kill him. This means the back rows are not Battle Traps or a ring. Making side notes about the back rows when things like this happen is very important. And the more time the back rows stay like this, the more better read we have. So now we just know it's not Battle Trap or a ring. So no comment on this play. Very good. Now the back rows are gone. Our read was correct, but he kept his Magicians, which is interesting because he knows that we side out Noblemans, or he hopes so. But this has been a trend on luxury tournaments, that these aggro decks are starting to play their own flips. Now he set another monster and I can't do anything, but when I pass and he passes back, now I know it's a Serpent because he doesn't do anything. This Torrential is great. Setting Serpent is also great because one knock is already gone, and then we will save our life points, or in the best case he will use Exiled Force. I mean, it's very lucky for us that he top decked Exiled Force, but the reasoning for setting Serpent is still fine. And now slowly we are regaining our advantage, you know, the more we accumulate the cards, the better we are in the matchup. Now setting Dust Tornado here, I don't like it because in the future, if we get the Heavy Storm, this will only cock block our plays. But also, you know, setting Dust Tornado is usually meant for hitting his back rows so that our next play goes through, but we don't really have any plays right now, so maybe keeping him in hand for the time being is alright, but it's not terrible to set it as well. You know, maybe he has a Jar of Greed and Heavy Storm set, something like this in this case. So he gets a monster, we don't Torrential yet, and now you see the great synergy of Serpent plus Torrential. Especially versus aggro decks, we can keep setting and he can only attack us with one beater until he finally summons second one, and then we go for Torrential. But you know, this doesn't work with Serpent. But we don't have to take damage because we have also Widespread. So we Widespread the big guy, and now I don't think there it makes much sense to summon Skill Dark. It's much better to just set Serpent and then wait for his another aggressor, use Torrential, and then go for Skill Dark. We also want at least a bit of protection for Skill Dark, at least in a form of Book of Moon or Battle Trap or Ring or something like that, because he still has Blade Knights, which will be 2000. So another floater. This is not very happy for us, but right now there's no need to do anything. And this is the best top deck in the history of top decks. 1000 defense, flip effect monster together with Tsukuyomi in hand. Haha. We pop the Aggro now because we want to push the Tsukuyomi playthrough. He solemns it. We are in the ring rage now. It doesn't seem like we can lose this game yet. This is a solid torrential. Our plans are to be considered because he wasted the summon. We go for Skill Dark. We have the ring. We have Snatch. We have everything. He goes for with BLS. You imagine there is some protection for BLS in the form of Book of Moon or something, but we have like two outs for him right now in the hand, and we top deck the third. So we just use this one. I don't summon Serpent because I want to maybe summon Skill Dark, but it turns out there is no protection for attacking. The set was Snatch, the hand was Lady, and this is how the match ended. Don't forget, if you side strongly for aggro, they have very bad matchup post side. They are only viable for unprepared goat control decks, and even versus chaos control it's even worse. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.